Wow. I didn't even know this existed. I knew there was online danger for adolescents being online. I said in my video yesterday that parents need to be vigilant on what their kids are digesting, but have any of you ever heard of 764? I've been researching it here this morning, and like because I saw this post on X from Patel, and I'm like, what? What is this 764? So I started looking, and I found some videos from like 2 months ago, 4 months ago, of some content creators I'd never heard of. I did find a one news article that came out yesterday, and I'll play it. It's about 2 or 3 minutes, but um, it didn't really go into super details. But I do have an article that we can go over that covers a lot of the disgusting stuff that this particular website. Gosh, it's like the dark web or something for children, for people to prey upon young minds full of mush. I mean, he says it's deeply disturbing, but critically important to understand what's there and be aware of threats American kids and families are facing every day. Now, apparently, there is an app called Bark that you parents out there can get and put this on your children. So I believe it works because I had met somebody a while back that had something for because Justin, my kid doesn't have a phone, and she was suggesting to me, well, you could get this, and it shows me everything he's doing. So I'm still leery. Um, I mean, he does have the computer from school. There are some restrictions on it, which is good. Um, but he had told me like last year that some of the kids at school knew how to get around, like they could hack. That they had laptops, not laptops. They had iPads last year. This year they got literal laptops. But he said they could hack around and get into anything they want. And he told me one kid, because I get notifications from the school throughout the week. Like if he's late for class, they tell me. I get progress reports. I get all kinds of stuff in my emails or even in my text messages. But he told me this one boy went in to the family portal that they have and redid where the messages go. I said, "What?" I said, "You better not even." I said, "Cause he already knows if I stop getting notifications, I'm going to call the school. Like, why am I not getting notifications anymore? Why is this stopped?" I guess my boy's smart enough to know I'm gonna be on it. Like he wouldn't dare do that. But yeah, he said this boy did it. Uh, and I was waiting here for a moment. I don't know what's going on with my computer, but sometimes it'll start to go slow and lag, and then there'll be some crackly. So I apologize. I don't know. I don't know what's going on, but I just saw it on my screen that it just started to lag, so I stopped talking. So I'm going to try to pay attention to that. So my bad. But anyway, he got in trouble. And so he goes in and he changes the email address of where the contact information would come. I was like, whoa. Now, I didn't do any follow up because it's none of my business what these parents do with their children. I told my kid, you're my business. I mean, I care about other children, but parents don't like you telling them how to raise their kid or what to do. So I don't want to step in that. We all know how that can go. It could get real nasty if somebody said, well, you're just in my business. And you're absolutely right. I don't need to be in your business. But my kid is my business and I have to do what I think is best. I mean, these criminals in these networks use online platforms to target vulnerable kids and coerce victims and recruit others. I mean, it's insane, often resulting in horrible cases of abuse. Um, it's it's just insanity on steroids. It's absolutely tragic, and I want people to know we're cracking down hard. Remembering last week we announced our agents and partners arrested 2 alleged leaders within the 764. We've opened hundreds of cases around the country, and our field offices are fully engaged. This is a priority for myself and our leadership. Now, look, I'm fixing to pull up an article, but I'm reading this, and this thing was created in 2020. Okay. So during the Biden administration, what, why all of a sudden they know this now? I mean, why did it take 5 years? I don't know. I'm just asking questions here because this is beyond the pale. This is beyond what what this is, and I'm going to pull up this other article. I guess I don't have to pause it. Y'all want to see me flip through stuff? No, you probably don't. I got a stack of stuff here. I mean, there is a lot of news to cover. We got Erica Kirk being elected, announced that she's going to be the CEO and head figure of Turning Point USA, which is a wonderful thing, and God bless her and Godspeed to their team. If I mentioned it to my boy, I don't know. I didn't put the seed like, hey, why don't you start one? I'm not going to say that to him. But I did say, hey, I got these stats that these high school kids are doing this stuff. So I just presented it like that. Whether he's interested in doing something like that, it's on him. And I kind of like critical thinking. Um, and that should start to be taught in school is critical thinking. Like you need to think for yourself, and we can provide your kids, which hopefully most of us are doing this, is relentlessly trying to monitor the best you can on online crap and, you know, behavior, school grades, all the above, the stuff that you're supposed to do, knowing when your kid is all the time. Just basic things like that, but also letting them think like this is right, this is wrong, and they need the critical thinking on their own because it helps them when they build into an adult. I had heard some professor years ago saying, I don't know if he was talking to Jordan Peterson, or I mean, I watch a lot of boring stuff, but I mean, I find it interesting. I'm not sure who the guy was, and I apologize because I'm old and I can't remember, and I don't always take notes, and I probably should. But they were talking about getting back to critical thinking, not just indoctrinated gobbledygoo that the internet and uh, left wing radical ideology on campuses and in schools where we need critical thinking. Like, okay, some liberal turd professor starts spouting some nonsense and your kid is in the class and your kid should be able to go, hey, uh-uh, this is how the milk gets in the coconut. And the whole class has a discussion because maybe your kid has critical thinking and he's not going to get admonished for it because we know the horror stories of most of them just have to follow them like sheep or they're going to get a bad grade or they're going to be shunned in the class or some disturbing things. Now, when was this article? Now, look, this article here I found was in April. And I mean, maybe I've been under a rock. I mean, but I still have been keeping up with some news, even though I haven't been posting online. But I didn't know nothing about this. Like in most of my feeds, some of the people I watch, I don't know. Somehow I have completely missed this. I will be completely honest with you. Leaders of the 764 arrested and charged for operating global child exploitation enterprise. This is insane. And this was on April 30th, 2025. So we're talking a few months ago. Okay, I'm going to try to pronounce this guy's name. So we're just going to call him Leon. Leon Varganeris, also known as War. He's 21, a citizen of the United States residing in Thessaloniki, Greece. And this is Parson Nepal, also known as Trippy. He's 20 of North Carolina were arrested and charged for operating an international child exploitation enterprise known as 764. And what would that stand for? Why would you name it that? A nihilistic violent extremist network. Varganis was arrested yesterday in Greece. Nepal was arrested on April 22nd in North Carolina and held at a court appearance. Court hearings in Washington, D.C. are depending for both defendants. All right, so I pulled this up because I think we need a little bit of background. And this pulled up when I typed in what is 764 network. And you have a Copilot search, a Wikipedia popped up. Wikipedia says 764 was founded in 2021. I thought I saw something else that said 2020, but whatever. If I misread that, that's okay. By Bradley Chance, caterhead, at age 15. School dropout. Caterhead learned techniques of exploiting minors and sextation on Discord server, and subsequent founded the 764. So, ladies and gentlemen, Discord, I guess what was the founding of this kid, that he was on Discord with all these online gaming people, because that's who mostly uses Discord. Mostly. And then he's like, whoa. And he's 15. It's a shame that he sounds like he's probably bright and he could start something, but he started something heinous. Here, we'll go back up to this. The network, previously known as CVLT, was founded in 2021 by Bradley Cohen, a teenager from Texas. Excuse me. In association with the Order of Nine Angels, a far-right satanic terrorist group. Oh my God. And has been classified as a Tier 1 terrorist threat by the FBI and violent extremist networks by Royal Canadian Mounted Police. The network operates primarily on platforms like Discord and Telegram, and targeting vulnerable children, particularly those age 8 to 17, and often marginalized or struggling with mental health issues. This is insane. This is just, and I didn't know nothing about this. I didn't know nothing about this. The charges were announced by U.S. Attorney Edward R. Martin Jr., U.S. Attorney General Pamela Bondi, FBI Assistant Director in Charge Stephen J. Jensen of the Washington Field Office, and FBI Assistant Director in Charge Christopher G. Raya of the New York Field Office. According to the affidavit, in the District of Columbia, 764 is a network of nihilistic violent extremists who engage in criminal conduct in the United States and abroad, seeking to destroy civilized society through the corruption and exploitation of vulnerable population, which often includes minors. The 764 network's accelerated goals include social unrest and the downfall of the current world order, including the United States government. So, this kid who starts this is 15 years old. Where I guess I want some background from him. Did he I mean, inquiring minds wanna know, what was his upbringing like up until he's 15? He's on Discord. I'm assuming he'd been playing video games and he's in these Discord chats, and then he leaps to this. It's like he didn't do this by himself. I mean, he's 15. He starts this in 2021. He, so what what he's saying he's the founder, but I mean, inquiring minds want to know, what was he surrounded by some adults who, and they all got together and let's do this. And maybe he has some technological savvy with computers and starting sites. I don't know. I'm just asking questions here, but it just dawned on me as like, okay, he's 15. How did he get? I mean, we were talked about yesterday the radicalization of Robinson, which Destiny says, well, how could he get radicalized so fast? Because Destiny grew up in a Christian, moderate home. Um, he listened to Rush Limbaugh, all of this crap, and then he grew up and then he became radicalized. But according to Destiny, it took him a while to become radicalized. That he's older than Robinson. So his argument is, well, how do you know he was radicalized? By sticking to his guns, by saying, okay, so he was brought up in uh, a conservative household. They're Mormon. They shoot guns. And by all accounts, all the pictures and the postings, it all looked, fine, whatever. And then he becomes radicalized in a short period of time. So Destiny's argument is, well, how did he become radicalized? What are you talking about? No, he was a conservative. He was this. His family was that. And why are you saying that he's this left wing ideologue? Because they want us to dodge the truth that it's the left, radical left, that are committing these crimes. Go watch Paris Morgan with Destiny and who else was on there? I don't know, but it was just in this past week, and I think Destiny just got kicked off of Twitch, like a permaban. As alleged, the defendants encouraged in a coordinated criminal enterprise and led a core subgroup within 764, known as 764 Inferno, operated through encrypted messaging application. As alleged, they directed participants in and otherwise caused the production and distribution of child sexual abuse material. What the hell? What the hell? And the defendants facilitated the grooming, manipulation, and extortion of minors. Ferganus and Nepal allegedly ordered their victims to commit acts of self-harm and engaged in psychological torment and extreme violence against minors. The affidavit alleges that the group targeted vulnerable children online, excuse me, I've been drinking coffee, coercing them into producing degrading and explicit content under the threat and manipulation. This content includes cut signs, blood signs, through which young girls would cut symbols into their bodies. Again, I'm going to reiterate, this kid who started this had to have been working with people. I don't know. Let's investigate George Soros. Let's investigate all of them, because you just read these people want to destroy civilization to create some kind of new world order. And what better way to do it? Now, I know the libs have been doing this through colleges and through education. We've been seeing it for the past 20 years, 20, 30 years. At least I have. I have a son that's 30. He's like 36, 37. How old is Mark? Um, actually, he's 38. I remember when we were living out in California, and he's starting school, and they had started the all year round school where they were color coded. It was weird, by the way. Like, he'd go for several weeks, and then he'd be off for 2 weeks, and then he would go. I mean, it was just really a bizarre pattern of the schooling. Um, but the teacher pulls me to the side and she says, "We're not going to teach phonics," because I was going to. They asked me if I wanted to volunteer, and I said, "Sure, I'll come in a couple days a week and help you do whatever, you know." So I would work with the kids with their little spelling words and stuff like. But it was all about memorization, and they completely took out phonics. So of course, at home, I'm teaching my kid phonics. I'm teaching him that, which is my right, whatever. I was like, this is insane. These kids aren't going to. And there was several kids who were struggling bad because they would go, well, can you take these 5, 6 kids out and go over the. And then I'm just like, okay. And, I'm trying to be patient. Well, I was patient with the children, of course, uh, holding up an apple, and then it was crazy. And then also on the first grade was more of them learning the spelling words. This was just memorization on learning the alphabet, like holding up an apple with an A or whatever, but not even giving them any inclination on the sound or anything, which we all know the younger you teach people stuff, children stuff, they get it. They're like a sponge. They'll just. And then gradually through the school, there was no books. It was all ditto sheets. I'd come in and they're like, "Oh, I'm glad you're here. Could you go print out like 100 of these?" It was just all ditto sheets. There's no books. So the kids don't have any tangible thing to sit and read, and then they can talk about what they read. No, it was none of that. It was so I've seen a decline. Look, I witnessed it firsthand. And then we came to Tennessee, and it was different. Like, he's in a higher grade, he's in 5th grade, whatever the case may be. Actually, Tennessee had some books at the time. But then that slowly stopped. Then they were, because whatever, look, it is true. Whatever happens in California on that side, it did slowly creep across. Here's one point. When I was out in California back in 1988, 1999, 1990, 91, I was out there during this time period. They had where you had to take your vehicle and get it smogged. So they'd run something up the tailpipe, and then, boom, then if it didn't pass smog, you had to get a catalog. You got to do all kinds of stuff, right? You got to do all kinds of stuff to your car. So then I moved to Tennessee for years later, and then I was like, guys, this is probably going to happen here. And they're like, nah, 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 nah. Like, sure enough, 10 years later, I'd already been in Tennessee, maybe about 10 years, maybe a decade. Boom. All of these centers popped up all over the place to go have your car smog checked before you can get your tag. And that lasted just a few years, though, and then it stopped. Now, I didn't research why. I don't know why Tennessee stopped it, but they did. But it was interesting to note that these things, boom, just like the school system, just like it went with the smog in the car, is just all of this craziness. And we've got to put a stop to it. We can't let what them dummies, Gavin Newsom and them do over in California affect the rest of us. We got to say no. The defendants and their co-conspirators around the world used the SSAM and other gore and violent material to create digital lure books. which used as digital currency within the 764 network and trade and archive in encrypted vaults. So basically, they're saying that they have some kind of incentive to keep the kids there. Well, if you build it up, you do this, kind of like what's what Andrew Tate, the Andrew Tate guy, and his what what is his thing called? The shoot, man, I'm having a brain fart. PhD, pimp and hose degree. And he had this other thing to where it's like a tier thing, like you buy into this and then you get that. But this is geared to children. So what was the digital currency that kept them excited about? Well, it's like a game. I do this. I build up my currency. I get this. I move up in level. What? I want to know more what they're talking about. And is used as a means of recruit new members or maintain status within the network. The affidavit also details how the defendants instructed other members in grooming tactics and set content production expectations for new recruits. In multiple instances, the defendants threatened and caused their victims to engage in self-mutilation online and in-person sexual acts, harm to animals, sexual exploitation of siblings and others, acts of violence, threats of violence, suicide, and murder. My God. I know teenagers are young people are easily manipulated and swayed. But I don't understand it. I mean, I think we all kind of wonder how did these young people. I don't know. We would need somebody like Jordan Peterson or somebody to walk us through this. Was there already a touch of special in these young people to where they were just captured by this group and then they were led to actually cut themselves? I, wow. It's insane on the level of manipulation and mind control, basically, controlling them to that this is a good thing to do. I don't know. I'm not a professional expert. I'm just thinking out of the box because it's just mind blowing. Also, according to the complaint affidavit, the defendants exploited at least 8 minor victims across multiple jurisdictions, with some content traced back to the children as young as 13 years old. The network's activities spanned from late. See, I knew I saw 2020 somewhere, late 2020 through early 25, which core leadership roles attributed to both defendants throughout the period. See, okay, so maybe because up at the top it was saying it was founded in 2021 by this 15-year-old, but maybe it already got started and then they recruited him. He took over because maybe he was good at recruiting. Maybe he was manipulated. He was brainwashed. And then he went and just expanded. I don't know. This is just speculation to me. This is just speculations. What does this say? The allegations in this case are not only disturbing, they are also every parent's nightmare. My God, yes, says U.S. Attorney Martin. The number of victims allegedly exploited by these defendants and the depths of the depravity are staggering. Justice demands that our response be swift in order to ensure public safety, hold the wrongdoers accountable, and bring the victims some sense of closure. How could this go on for 4 years? Well, we probably know the answer to that because the Biden administration could give a shit about anything that was going on. They were promoting the death of babies, setting up abortion vans outside their DNC rallies at Jesus, and they didn't seem to mind the mutilation of children or let's change pronouns. People have the right to free speech. They are such hypocrites. There's another thing we're not going to get into because this video is. I'm going to try to finish this. But there was another thing I was looking at to cover the daily news, and it was on the hypocrisy of the left, which we all know the hypocrisy on the left, where they're screaming, uh, the Trump administration is squashing free speech by the FCC, you know, pressuring Sinclair and these other groups from ABC to do something about this. Well, they couldn't do anything, the Trump administration. They can say things, but it was the FCC did say something, but it was up to the affiliates and the owners of these affiliates to remove Kimmel for his speech. Nobody said he didn't have the right to say it. It's just that the airways are for the public, and actually the government has to be monitoring that because you don't want some group on one of these networks that, like, who the hell's watching TV anyway? But anyway, get on and start promoting terrorism and killing people and promoting and glorifying and all of this stuff. It's like, no, this is not good for the public health, public morale, for the country, anything like that. So they have to do these things. But the Biden administration, they were trying to, they were hammering parents showing up at schools. They were being vetted. Like the government was like, "Oh, you're an enemy of the state because you are sticking up for your kid because you don't want your kid to be identified as him, she, they, them, it, cat, dog." And parents were pissed. I mean, a lot of this came to light because of COVID, because the kids were at home on their laptops. I was watching my kid. He was, I guess he had to do school online, and I'm seeing what the heck they're doing. It, it's a whole lot of nothing. I said, "Oh my God!" So I had him. We were going over the American Revolution. We were going over some of the Civil War. I didn't want to get too in depth, but I wanted him to know stuff about the founding of the country. I think that's very important. I didn't see none of that in any of the crap he was doing. Some minimal math. We got him books for English, math, and other things, and plus doing that on top of the stupid crap that because they weren't teaching him nothing. I'm telling you, people, they were not. They were not teaching him diddly squat. I had to tell him what 4th of July is all about. It's because the school wasn't doing it. I mean, it's just crazy. It's just absolutely crazy. These defendants are accused of orchestrating one of the most heinous online child exploitation enterprises we have ever encountered, a network built on terror, abuse, and the deliberate targeting of children, said Attorney General Bondi. We will find those who exploit and abuse children, prosecute them, and dismantle every part of their operation. I mean, where's the left-wing media? They don't care because they want America to be destroyed. I think the Obama administration and Harris wanted us to implode. Saul Alinsky, Rules for Radicals. What better way to take over is you have to destroy a nation, a country from within, and then replace it with something. And what do you think? Rotting our children's minds, chaos in the streets, rioting, Let's defund the police. How stupid. It's just beyond comprehension that we have been in the twilight zone during the Biden administration, and we just all need to keep praying that we keep hammering this stuff down and get rid of it. And get rid of it. The charges against these subjects represent our resolve to dismantle violent networks that seek to destroy civilized society, said Assistant Director in Charge Jason of the FBI Washington Field Office. Our work is not done until justice is restored for all impacted victims. Well, usually they say when you cut the head off a snake, two more pop up. So they're going to have to be vigilant. Excuse me. They're just going to have to be vigilant. And I think they can. I think we have the technology to weed this crap out. Parson Nepal, a leader of the 764, allegedly other members of the network to use explicit material to induce and extort victims into producing child exploitation content, expletive content, said Assistant Director in Charge Rhea of the FBI New York Field Office. Manipulating the most vulnerable members of society, our children, to produce sexually harmful material to further their depraved goals is unconscionable. The FBI is determined to do whatever necessary to stop the heinous actions of 764 members and hold them accountable in the justice system. I'm wondering if there's a way to just obliterate their website. Obviously, they need to be tracking them down for IP addresses. What disc is they, do they still have a Discord account? Somehow trace back to how are they recruiting? Where are they recruiting? Is there a particular game that these guys are going and sitting in and then start yucking it up with one of the kids and saying, hey, I've got this Discord channel. Would you like to join it? And the kid's like, awesome. This guy likes me. So I'm going to, yeah. And then they get into this chat and then they slowly, it's probably a slow process because I would think it would be a shock if all of a sudden, boom, this stuff's just right in their face, and then they would be like this. No, it probably has to be a slow grooming. Obviously, they mentioned it, a slow grooming process to get them in. It's just crazy. These arrests expose one of the most disturbing online child exploitation networks we've ever encountered, said the NYPD Commissioner Jessica S. Tisch. I'm sorry if I pronounced her name wrong. A group that glorified violence, weaponized abuse, and targeted children to advance a deeply depraved ideology. Through the Joint Terrorism Task Force, the NYPD is proud to have partnered with federal and international authorities to dismantle this horrific operation and protect the most vulnerable among us. Well, we've all seen New York the last few years. Bringing in and busing all those illegals, putting them up in luxurious motels, and they just trashed it. It's like, okay. But I'm glad to see that they've partnered with this. I absolutely am. So kudos where kudos needs to be. But New York has a lot of work to do. If convicted, the defendants face a maximum penalty of life in prison. I don't know. Could there not be a death penalty for this? If some of the children that were involved were coerced to commit unlifing themselves, then yes, I think the death penalty should be on the table because you did this. It was destructive. It was disturbing. It's beyond comprehension. I don't even understand it. This case is being investigated by the FBI's Washington Field Office and New York Field Office with the assistance from the FBI Charlotte Field Office and the FBI Athens, Greece Legal Attaché Office and the Helsinki National Police. I don't even know what that. It is being prosecuted by Assistant U.S. Attorney Alexandria Hughes, Karen Ditzler-Shinsky, and then Jack Cobra for the District of Columbia and trial attorneys Justin Shee and James Donnelly of the National Security Division's Counterterrorism Section. Specialist, Marcia Mandela, Christian. Okay, so it's just naming all of these people. This case was brought as part of a Project Safe Childhood, a nationwide initiative to combat the epidemic of child sexual exploitation and abuse, launched May 2006 by the Department of Justice, led by U.S. Attorney's Office and CEOs. Project Safe Childhood marshals federal, state, and local resources to better locate, apprehend, and prosecute individuals who exploit children via the internet, as well as to identify and rescue victims. For more information, Project Safe Child, please visit, and then you could visit this website, www.justice.gov/PSC. So there you have it. It was quite disturbing. This was started in 2006. This group for online. So, well, how vigilant were they? So this kid, I'm assuming he is with someone else. Somebody recruited him, and they start a chapter or whatever you want to call it to recruit others. So somehow he was groomed. So now, just a few months ago, these people are just getting arrested for these atrocities that they have done over a several-year period. Look, I understand some things could be under the radar. I don't know. I don't know. But I'm just curious. And if you were part of this type of task force, you'd be on there all the time. I mean, I don't know how much access they can have to things because you know how they have to get court orders. They got to get all of this stuff before they can do things. But I don't even know why. If online is a public realm, they should be able to just go and look at anything. I don't know. I know we don't always want government regulations and things like that because look at all the regulations on our vehicles, and you open up the hood of your car, and there's just so much crap on there that's unnecessary because of government regulations, because the planet is melting. We have climate change. The planet is melting. Um, so they just put all these regulations, and it costs the taxpayers, the people, more money over something absurd that doesn't exist. But that's my opinion. If you guys out there, somebody wants to believe that there's climate change, by all means do. I've seen the images of India. Oh my God. I don't even know what we can do about that. It is disgusting, the dirtiest place I've ever seen. You guys should go look at these videos of these people who go, these young men go, oh, the title of their video is Don't Ever Go to India. I mean, I've watched some a couple weeks ago. I was like, oh my God. Plus, I've seen all the trash anyway, and I know that they'll take their uh, remains of people and dump them in the water. There's just trash. It's filth. It's disgusting. It's just really, really bad. And oh my God, I don't even know. It's like, should we send a team in there and go, look, let's help you because if we help you, it does help the planet. But nobody cares about that. No. Biden and them wanted to put windmills up that kill birds constantly, charge us an arm and a leg for gas. But I think all that money should have went, let's go help India clean that shit up. My God, go look at it. It's disturbing. It is disturbing on how dirty and nasty that India is because they don't have proper we here in America, I mean, you don't think nothing of it, do you? You put your can out. You put your trash can out. Trash man comes, gets it. Yeah, we have to pay for it, but so what? Yeah, man, I don't have to drive to the dump. Trash man comes, picks it up, and then they take it to a dump site that gets bulldozed and it's managed. They stick stuff on. They figured out all kinds of stuff to how the land could. Some of the materials can decompose, and they stick things down to aerate and all kinds of crazy stuff. I watched something on it years ago because I'm just boring like that. But we have this in all states. We have our trash taken care of. They just throw their trash out in the lake, on the street. It's like they don't have trash pickup. My God, it's insane. Some of the poorest areas in India. Well, sorry to get on a tangent about that, but this is insane. And you guys look at it, and let's take a look at this video. Well, is it going to? There we go. This is just a couple of minutes, and then we're going to wrap this up. And look, this was just posted 14 hours ago. So 14 hours ago.
From the FBI, one that every parent needs to hear.
Authorities are tracking a sharp rise in violent online networkers targeting children, including one known as 764. Action News Jack's Nicholas Brooks spoke with a federal agent about what this means for local families.
They operate in the shadows of social media, gaming platforms, and mobile apps, and their targets are getting younger. The FBI says networks like 764 are actively recruiting and exploiting vulnerable children, often between the ages of 10 and 17. Some victims have been young as 9.
We are seeing an increase in these predators online, and they're using really any kind of platform online where someone can communicate with someone else.
Nationwide, federal agents are tracking hundreds of active cases, with some of them right here in Jacksonville.
There are certainly investigations that we're looking at in the Jacksonville area as well. That's obviously what in the field office here we're focusing on. But generally speaking, there's about 280 right now that we are seeing around the country.
These networks use manipulation, deception, and blackmail, often posing as friends or romantic partners.
That person is looking for answers online, and they start to groom them.
But the outcome can turn tragic.
Unfortunately, be blackmailed into suicide and murder.
In response, the FBI is ramping up training.
And this is why I said that these people they just arrested, which was back in April. That article I just read you was in April 2025. This was just posted today, yesterday. So one person, a youth, was unlifed, and they're just going to get life in prison. I think they should get the death penalty.
And tactics across the country.
We are deploying every investigative technique that we can to combat this.
But agents say prevention starts at home.
You need to be able to have appropriate and meaningful conversations with your kids.
Sudden mood changes, unexplained injuries, or a fixation on a new online friend, those are red flags, according to Supervisory Special Agent Matthew Reiser. If you see the warning signs, act quickly, and if you suspect something more, report it to law enforcement. For local coverage you can count on reporting in Jacksonville, I am Nicholas Brooks, Action News Jax.
Now, there are things that parents could do.
Now, before we're going to wrap it up with him giving us some suggestions on what to do to help monitor your kids. What should be disturbing and alarming parents out there? Sites like this, and there are probably other sites that have been going on that they're yet to find. Where are the parents? Don't give your kid a phone if you don't trust them. Everybody should know their kid. Plus, what would be the age to give your kid access to full-blown, no-holds-bar internet without monitoring it? It's like you're not going to let your 12-year-old go take your car and go joyride. Well, that's basically what's happening. They're taking a deadly mind thing and just joyriding through it with no supervision whatsoever. Now, there are parents out there who probably just give it to them to shut them up. Give them the phone, give them the iPad, give them the PlayStation. Buy them the computer so they could do PC gaming. This is disturbing. So maybe we need to start teaching kids early in school. And take I'm glad the school my kid's going to now is the elementary part of the school does not have an iPad issued by the school. Thank God. Thank God. I don't even think the middle school should have it. High school, okay. With limits on it as well, which they are doing this year, and I praise them for that. But parents, you just can't carte blanche give your kid a lethal weapon, which is the internet.
Do to try to keep your children safe? First off, review games, apps, social media sites before they're downloaded. Also, what you can do is adjust the privacy and parental controls. That's very important as well. And then finally, the body and safety boundaries, okay? These are things that are important to kind of remind your children about. Now, as far as the games and the apps and everything else, let me just tell you personally, I don't want to make a personal recommendation, but I am. You download the Bark app. That's B-A-R-K, okay? This is very hard to do individually, try to keep up with all this stuff. If you download the Bark app, that'll monitor everything for you. Go check it out.
Well, there you go. There you go. Here's the background. Dude was 15. Parents, be vigilant. This is so important. This is so important that you really, really need to do this. And I hope y'all got some knowledge out of this. I mean, reading this article, I got up, I started seeing this about the FBI on X, and I was like, what is this? So sometimes I am under a rock and I don't catch everything. But there you go. God bless America, and God bless you for watching, and thank you so much, and have a wonderful day.